Welcome back to week 4 of the 90 Days to Homeownership Guide. Today we're going to be talking about the wants versus needs, and we have a special guest, Colette, who's been with us for a little bit of time. She's our marketing guru or marketing specialist, and we would like to talk a little bit about. She's had an array of different experiences in the home buying process, from a first-time home buyer to a person that's bought a home, a person that's built a home, and a person that's then bought another multiple homes. So she's done the process multiple times, and she comes with a lot of different experiences. Maybe some good, some bad, some what to do's, what not to do type of things. So thanks for being with us today, Colette. We'd like to kind of just get into it a little bit in regards to your experiences with the home buying process as a seasoned buyer. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
So really quickly, kind of this fourth week really dives into a buyer's perspective of wants versus needs, the must-haves versus the things I would love to have but don't need. So from your experience in home buying, any things or ideas that pop out off the top of your head as far as that topic, wants versus needs? Um, Anything that comes to mind initially that you'd want to kind of just touch on real quick?
Yeah, so I think that every stage of buying, as far as if you're a first-time home buyer or purchasing your third home, those needs versus wants are going to change. Being a first-time home buyer, in my experience, I think that those needs versus wants were a little bit more difficult because I'm the youngest in my family, and I saw, my siblings in these nice, beautiful homes, and I just was wanting that right then. Um, but as I started looking and remembering that I do have a budget, that we weren't going to get that dream home for our first home, but it was a stepping stone to that. Determining those needs versus wants. When we bought our first home, we didn't have any children, and so some of those things that you would consider when you have children necessarily weren't on our list, which potentially we were having children, and so that definitely changed after we bought the house. But so as far as our second home, we built a home, and so we were able to kind of customize some of those things. But also, again, even in that second home, we didn't get everything that we wanted. And we didn't have a big backyard, and at that time we did have two children, and so that was something that we were looking forward to in our third home. But as far as some of those needs versus wants, we definitely needed multiple bedrooms, 2-car garage, because we live in Idaho. I don't want to be parking my car outside and having to get the snow off. But maybe some of the wants were more like the type of appliances that were in there, or the flooring, or some of those more specific things that you really could add on later, instead of getting it right when you purchased it.
So from basically kind of what you've kind of, to summarize a little bit, so from each stage of life that you were in, there was different sets of wants and needs. When you're a brand new first-time home buyer, what would you say was your the top 2 or 3 things as a first-time home buyer that were top of mind to you? Because what I'd like to do is kind of point those out, then go to the stage of, okay, we're going to build a home or we're going to buy our second home. You've got a little bit of equity potentially in that first home that you're selling potentially, or if you're using, so there's a lot of different things there. So what would you say in regards to your, as a first-time home buyer, what were those top 3 things that you would say were your must-haves?
Must-haves, where the house
Location.
is located.
Okay.
Um, we specifically wanted a certain area, and we were lucky and found a home in that area that we were looking for. Um, let's see, I'm trying to think of some of the other specifics.
Bedroom size or bedroom count, maybe. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah, I guess, but like I said, we were just newly married, so we weren't ready to have kids yet. But yeah, we definitely wanted some space.
mhm,
Um, budget, obviously, the price of the
price
home
point.
was a
Yeah,
major thing that
yeah,
determined what type of home we got and got into.
gotcha. Okay, so when you, after that, after you bought that first home and got into the home, when you moved to the next stage of life, or when you got into the second home, did you use some of the, was there some value in having that first home to help you get to the second home? And
Yeah,
what would you say that value was for you guys to go from, and did you sell that home? Did you keep it? Did you use some of the, was there equity there that you could then step into another, and a
yeah.
different home, a different size, a different location, maybe a bigger home, more bedrooms, some different amenities? Was there some of that that played into it as well?
It was an older home, and we were able to have enough equity to build a home. And living in a home for, I think we were there for 5 years, you start to
Okay,
learn the things that you really want and need. I mean, our first home didn't have any air conditioning, so that was something we wanted in our second home. And um, backyard, some of that stuff that we, because we were building up that equity, we were able to expand on some of those.
just to summarize the wants versus needs, I'm just going to kind of wrap this up real quick. What would you say, like, the most important things are to make that list, to put the list together, come with that, have that sit down with your significant other and be able, or if it's just you by yourself, sit down and put together a list of wants versus needs, because that will help us to determine the direction to go. One of the key factors I think you mentioned was location was a key factor for you guys in that first home, and even probably moving forward into the multiple other homes. Location drove a lot of the things that you maybe were able to do. I know for me personally, that's always a big deal, is location, because not getting into too much of the weeds, but location drives, sometimes is a big factor in the value of your real estate moving forward. And most people that get into homes and buy homes and real estate, as we mentioned before, real estate is a vehicle that helps build wealth, or net worth, and people's net worth and people's wealth. So I think that that's a key factor in us wanting to help people get into homes, and whether that be their first time or their multiple, they're looking to buy another one or jump into the, potentially even to investing in homes and investing in rental properties and things like that. Those are things that are helping for people to build wealth through the equity they have in those properties. So thanks for coming in today and being with us. And do you have anything else you might want to add before we end?
Yeah, I just was thinking of something. Um, we had experiences that we, in one of our homes, we didn't use a real estate agent. And I know for a fact that we missed out on getting some additional things from the builder. And I know that because the next door, they were building a house also next door and had the same builder, and they used a real estate agent, and they got way more out of the builder than we did, because we didn't have that negotiating, person to, sometimes when you're excited about something, you don't want to lose it, so you're not, you're scared to ask. But that's what is so important about having a real estate agent, is they're there to advocate for you and help you through that, so that you can get what you want out of that home, or any additional things.
That's a great point, and thanks for bringing that up. I mean, the fact that even if that agent may just be able to help key up some of those questions that you may not have been thinking about for yourself, to maybe ask the builder or ask the situation or the other agent or the seller in whatever scenario we're in, what can we do to make this win-win, but also to advocate for the client that's the one looking to do the purchase. So thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate that. That's a key factor and a huge point, to making sure that you don't miss out on potential opportunities for yourself, and maybe even some of those extra upgrades you could get in a home. So,
Thank you.
yeah, thanks.